Live from the New Life Center studios in Coconut Creek, Florida, and Phoenix, Arizona, it's Nothing Worthwhile, giving you the latest news in pop culture, sports, entertainment, and professional wrestling. You know, all the crap you don't care about. Here's Evan Moody and Andrew Gruthius.
After these messages.
You guys suck.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Hi, I'm the final goosebump on Dwayne The Rock Johnson's forearm. You may have seen me pop out last Friday on SmackDown. Now I want to take this time to dispel a nasty rumor. I'm not a herpy. I'm a goosebump. Now, I think I get recognized as a herpy because The Rock's forearms are so massive and large. Anyway, I just want to say that the final boss has only one final podcast that he listens to. It's Nothing Worthwhile with Moody and Gru. Oh, wait, let me see here. I'm looking at the run sheet. You guys are talking about the ending of Cobra Kai? Oh, you know my good friend Ralph Macchio's wig. Yeah, we're probably going to go out tonight and get fucked up. Anyway, enjoy the show!
There's a tradition in tournament play to not talk about the next step until you've climbed the one in front of you. I'm sure going to the state finals is beyond your wildest dreams, so let's just keep it right there. Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners. Okay? All right! Let's go! Let's go! Let me hear it!
I am sorry that you thought I had something personally against you.
Listen, I mean, you didn't like the fact that I was getting a lot of attention at that time and going off in my own space and taking away like that attention.
I was on the cover of Maxim in 2014.
And I love that. I definitely applaud you for that.
But I wasn't in any way upset. I didn't think you were. It was two totally different
faces. I didn't know why you were upset. That's what I mean. I didn't know why you were. That's only what I get.
But you just told me right now why I was upset. You were saying before you didn't know why I was upset, for sure.
No,
but never just now you just said you
that's
were.
What I thought. Maybe
that's what you guessed then.
I don't want that. I want your soul.
My soul no longer belongs to me. And you know why? Because I gave my soul to this ring and these people. Hey, Rock, go fuck yourself.
In the beginning, we were enemies.
Finish him!
And Through the years,
You want to finish this?
we've had our battles.
Bring it on.
All of us.
This isn't a tournament. There are no rules.
But that's only made us stronger. I guess it was inevitable. We'd end up on the same side.
And no matter the alliances we've made,
One purpose. Are the friends who have had our backs. One team.
our enemies are still out there.
What would life be without a few surprises?
We need to face those enemies and take them down once and for all.
To accomplish that as one, we need to go back to where it all began.
I know things got out of control in Barcelona.
The kid died.
Is the tournament back on? What am I even fighting for?
I wish I had the answers for you, kiddo, but I don't know.
They should fear you, and if they don't, make them.
You can beat Axel. I gave it everything I had last time. Didn't make a difference.
Nobody deserves to get their ass kicked more than that bitch.
Doesn't matter what happened last time. Doesn't matter how many people are watching. I show these assholes how we do things in the valley.
Jacqueline Jewett. Julie Jerkoff. Forgive me, Kirkhoff.
Kill Whitey! No!
Oh, listen to that beautiful piano.
There were nights when the wind was so cold that my body froze in bed if I just...
I don't think I said this was my favorite Celine. I don't really have a favorite Celine Dion song. I think she's like she's a strange character, because she's definitely got a good voice, but it's not distinct. It's like a generic singing voice. Like you think a singer, you think someone like her, but I don't know. So like this is a nice song. The Titanic song's a great song. The Power of Love, I think, is the one I was talking about. You know, I'm your lady. That's a good one, but you know, every song she's done has been covered by somebody who's done it better. But whatever, it's great stuff. So much fun.
We'll be there. I don't care.
Yes,
we're going to be in Vegas in some form or fashion.
We might be selling blood and sperm at the Weed Motel, but we'll be there.
No, stop it now. We are in a little bit better financial situation in our older age. We're just selling sperm. That sounds like
yeah.
Anyway,
our blood. Nobody wants our blood. Nobody wants our blood.
No more blood. No more blood and sperm. Just sperm.
Just sperm.
Well, I was going to say we'll probably watch WrestleMania like Trixie's Cabaret on.
Oh no, we got plenty of options. Don't you worry.
All right. Wow, what an opener! We haven't even gotten to anything yet. Welcome to Nothing Worthwhile, episode 139. On today's show, we're going to give you our thoughts on the final run of a Nothing Worthwhile favorite. It's the 6th and final season of the Netflix hit Cobra Kai, and we'll run through Nothing Worthwhile the week that was. All right, we already did our introductions. Gru, what do you want to do? You want to go to Cobra, or you want to go to the week that was?
Let's do the week that was, and then and close it out with Cobra Kai. It would be fitting to do a finale with a finale.
All right, we're going to do a finale with the finale. All right, Gru, before we do, we talk about the final season, the ending of Cobra Kai. It's 5 things we're talking about this week. It's nothing worthwhile, the week that was.
New You Life Center presents Nothing Worthwhile, the week that was.
Gosh, I think about New You Life Center. Think about what it's done to Andrew Guthius over the last couple of years. I mean, the guy now, a body of an Adonis.
Damn right.
Hulk Hogan is jealous of Andrew's physique.
That's right.
Now.
You know what? God damn it. I should be selling real American beer.
I mean, the guy he's going on cruises. He's going to see Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
What's next? Are you going on speed dating next Friday?
Maybe. It's at the it's at the bingo hall at the church on Samplin 441. I'm pulling the balls.
There you go. Hey,
what's that line from Mrs. Doubtfire? I'm pulling the balls at the rectory.
All right, guys. Begin to New You. Check out all of their medical weight loss programs, all their stuff at www.newlifecenters.com. That's NUYOU lifecenters.com, or give them a call at 602-274-0068. Tell them that Moody and Gru sent you and receive a big 15% off your first service. We want to thank Marie Moody and the team. Yeah, we went out last Saturday night, and she was like, I have 3 bottles of tequila in my office. And I'm like, why do you have 3 bottles of tequila in your office?
No.
And
don't. The question is, why don't you? Why doesn't everyone? That is the question.
Well, we went back and we did I had 2 shots of tequila with flavored seltzer water. It's kind of nasty, but the tequila did the trick.
Well,
got a little loose in the goose.
Did it lead to a night of magic and passion? Because if
Yes,
it did, there you go. Then it did the trick.
Yes, it did. Let me share my screen real quick.
Oh, so is this the night of magic and passion? Oh no, that's not it.
Oh, hey, check this out. Here. You see this photo? Well, a husband and wife said they were forced to sit next to a woman's dead body for several hours after she dropped dead on a 15-hour flight. Mitchell Ring and Jennifer Collin were en route from Melbourne, Australia to Doha, Qatar, when the unidentified female passenger suffered a medical emergency in the aisle during the Long Airways flight. They quoting the couple, they tried to wheel her upwards towards business class, but she was quite a large lady. Large lady.
Oh.
And they couldn't get her through the aisle. The Australian couple, who had 2 spare seats in their row of 4, said the frustrated flight crew gave up and asked them to shift over so they could prop the dead corpse up alongside them.
Right.
They said, "Can you move over, please?" When I just said, "Yeah, no problem." Then they placed the lady in the chair I was in. A shocking photo of the grim ordeal captured Ring watching his TV as the woman's body sat next to him. Ring claimed he spent the next 4 hours sitting next to the women's blanket-covered bodies. Qatar Airways said they were in the process of reaching out to the couple in the wake of the ordeal. Gru, any thoughts on this unique travel story? This guy is literally sitting next to a dead body.
Yeah, I mean, geographically, I know where Qatar is, but is that the first? I know Australia is pretty much a day flight from anywhere. But if somebody dies in flight, as soon as you get over land, you got to land. You land that plane. You don't just keep going to your destination. So I don't know if Qatar is right off the coast or wherever they were. I don't know. I don't know much about the geography, but I'd offer that guy a first class upgrade for his next travel with us on Qatar Airlines. There, he's definitely going to get some frequent flyer miles and maybe a plane named after him. If I were him, I'd be I'd be It's up to the crew to make sure that corpse is even if you have to stuff it in the bathroom. Like it's not in. You don't have to keep it. You don't have to keep it seatbelted because it's not in danger. You just have to secure it somewhere.
You have to secure it though, because honestly,
yes, you have to secure it.
It has turbulence or something. You don't want a dead body flying.
Right, but you also don't have to have it. You take up one of the bathrooms. You secure it in there, or something. But you don't make a.
Is it inappropriate if I'm sitting there and they put a dead body next to me and I'm like, could I have her meal?
He's dead tired. not the Schwarzenegger joke from Commando.
Was that Commando?
Please don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired.
Does that great neck snap, completely that was great.
No, it's not inappropriate of you. If they're going to make you sit next to one, then you have.
Can I have her cookie? Can I have
yes, you definitely get the double meal with that. Definitely get and if you get an automatic, if you sign up for the Qatar Airlines credit card, you get an automatic approval. With a $2,000 credit limit.
Extra 150,000 points.
Yeah. Are we sure this isn't how Gene Hackman No, I can't. Oh, that's terrible.
It looks a little like Gene Hackman, the guy.
Yeah, so it can't be him because that guy's alive.
Well, I think, isn't Qatar the next big overseas show for the WWE?
It might. It's coming. It's right next. It's right next to Saudi Arabia.
I'm joking.
Geographically, I know that.
Gru, do you know who this young lady is? Or she's not so young, but do you know
I'd
who
like
this person is?
I certainly would like to, if you don't mind. I'm looking down at the thing, but no. I mean, it looks like she could slip through a crack in the pavement. Is that the new Is that the new PSA for what's it called? Bulimia?
Well, she might be on Ozempic, but I know you've heard of. I know you don't watch. I don't think, but the Real Housewives.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, so she's on the Real Housewives of Potomac, which is Maryland. Her name is Karen Uger, and I'm going to tell you about Karen, Gru. She was sentenced to 1 year in prison after being found guilty of DWI last Wednesday. The Real Housewives star learned her fate from a judge during a hearing in Montgomery County, Maryland. Uger was sentenced to a 2-year prison term with 1 year suspended. The Bravo celebrity has 30 days to file an appeal. She reportedly got emotional while speaking to the judge at the sentencing. Quoting Karen, "I understand better the brutal clarity of the fact that when you're behind a car driving, you're not just driving for yourself. It's my responsibility to make sure that my community members make it to where they need to be safely." My community member? No, you need to make it safely, and then not be inebriated, you dummy. Before Montgomery County Circuit Court Judge Terrence McGann sentenced Uger, he pointed out that Karen Uger has faced 4 driving violations since 2006. Quoting the judge, "Can we believe that she's only driven while intoxicated 4 times in the last 17 years, or is it more likely that she's been very lucky and her inebriation has gone undetected?" Let's see here. She was found guilty of 5 out of the 6 charges. Let me page down a little bit here, including driving under the influence, negligent driving, failing to control speed, and failure to notify authorities of an address changed. She was acquitted of the reckless driving charge. She was arrested last March after she crashed her Maserati into a median street sign while traveling at a high rate of speed in Potomac, Maryland. Per police body cam footage, I have seen this, Uger admitted to the cops she was drunk and bizarrely referred to herself as Thomas Jefferson's concubine. In January, Uger's rep revealed that she checked herself into rehab. Her nickname is the Grand Damme, as she was notably absent from the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 9 reunion. Gru, I know you're not much of a fan of Real Housewives, but reality star getting sentenced to DUI. Any thoughts?
Well, yeah, but it's got nothing to do with the Real Housewives or even this person. This has to stop. The penalties for not the second, not the third, not the fourth, but the first DWI or DUI have to be severe enough that you're not going to fucking do it again. That doesn't mean jail. It doesn't have to mean jail, but it's got to mean something. I'm serious. It's got to mean something.
I know, I'm just
no. I know,
it's
but
a comedy show, so I'm just
I know, but I can't believe that story was like okay until I hear she's been arrested 4 times before. That as far as I'm concerned, you get arrested for DWI. And you blow whatever it is into 0.8 or whatever, and you've had a drink, you're not driving for a fucking year. License gone. I don't give a shit. You're gonna drive, don't drink. That's it. Why can't it be that? Why so how many people have to die? I mean, listen, I'm not gonna go into detail, but there are people who get into terrible accidents and go to prison for the rest of their lives for doing the same shit that this person did. Difference is, this person didn't kill anybody doing it, but she could have very easily have done so. And if you let her off the hook with you're putting her into prison for a year, okay, maybe that'll knock some sense into her. But as far as I'm concerned, there are at least four people out there who are lucky to be alive today because she didn't fuck up even more. So you want to talk about executive orders? Let's start with one about this shit. This is no tolerance. Sorry, but
are you blaming Donald Trump for this?
No, I'm blaming people who drink and drive for this. That we need to continue that mothers against drunk driving and students against that's still a thing after all these years and all the terrible shit.
I don't want to continue this podcast. It's too
sorry.
serious.
I'm sorry.
It just.
But I know you agree with me.
Of course, no. Listen, I mean, the thing is, in my youth, I've definitely very regretful. Once or twice, I went behind the wheel, and I was not. And I'll never, ever, ever, ever. I don't drink anymore anyway, except when I'm with Andrew.
Yeah, that's true. We're usually Ubering when we're together. So.
I verify, in my mind, I'm not drinking anymore. Oh, I'm with Gru. Yeah,
that's your get out of jail free
gold
card.
Makes you old way before your time. Gold makes you drink past your prime. Whiskey. All right. No, I mean, listen. I agree, and I think hearing the judge's comments. It's shocking, and I mean, the housewives portray themselves in a life of luxury, a life of elegance, and I'm going to surmise that she got in trouble with the law prior and probably paid some high-level attorney to make it go away. But it can, it does catch up with you, and I agree with you. I think we're in this era now of I think it's starting to spin back a little bit, but. Where these the local municipalities in these cities are a little bit, a little bit lax on these issues. And if you let it go like that, then things like
people
this
get hurt.
So I don't disagree with you. All right, Gru, let me just push this over a little bit here. We briefly mentioned this on the last podcast, but following Amazon's takeover of the James Bond franchise, Jack Reacher author Lee Child makes the case that it's a positive thing for the franchise. After more than 6 decades under the control of the Broccoli family, 007 experienced a major shakeup last week when it was confirmed that the producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson were ceding control of the franchise to Amazon. Amazon purchased Bond distributor MGM in 2022, but this latest development solidifies its control over all things 007, including creative direction of the franchise. The move has been a controversial one, to say the least. In an interview with the BBC, Lee Child, whose Jack Reacher novels have been turned into a successful TV show on Prime Video, argues, hold on, let me page down here, that Amazon taking control of the Bond franchise could help push that franchise in the right direction. According to the author, 007 is in dire need of a change. Quote, the concept is dated and it needs a shakeup. It needs refreshing. And the people that are looking after it before are just worn out. So new blood, new energy, it's going to be good for it. Childs also shared that he thinks Amazon taking control will lead to spin-offs and TV shows, and that this expansion of the franchise also won't be a bad thing. I'm sure that it will happen because what Amazon likes to do, if they get a hit, they want to dominate the entire year with it. And so we can imagine a big Bond production once every few years. and there's a lot of Bond origin stories with Miss Moneypenny spinoff, this sort of thing. Gru, apparently the Broccoli's were never interested in the idea of making a Bond cinematic universe, but it's widely expected that is what Amazon will do. The article goes on to say that that's an intriguing idea. That's not me. It's the article. Gru, are you interested to see what Amazon could do with the 007 franchise?
Yes, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm not a big James Bond guy. I think I've seen 2 of them, both of which I liked. One, I think, was the first Daniel Craig one, which was good. I think Casino Royale, which was good. And I think I saw one of the Roger Moore ones, or no, one of the Pierce Brosnan ones. So, but I'm not a big James Bond guy. However, Amazon puts money into things, and if you're going to if a property is going to be picked up, you want it to be picked up by a company that puts money into things. Amazon, Netflix, even Paramount, they put money into things. So you're not going to get The Quest, being produced by Amazon, where it looks like it was made in like a kindergarten class. So at least they have that going for them. They'll have budget. They won't have the budgetary restrictions that other companies might give them, or at least they'll have deeper pockets, which means that they'll be able to cast the right people and hire the right people to write the scripts and maybe breathe some life into it. Although, from what I understand, the Daniel Craig movies were pretty popular. Like I said, I'm not that familiar with it. So I don't know what they mean by that, unless they're just talking about adapting it to the new thing, which would actually be, you want to know what would interest me the most? Turn Bond into a TV series. Give me a 10-episode TV series instead of a 2-hour movie. Do you want to do something different? Do that. See what you can do. So I like the idea of expanding. There's a lot of places they could go with it. Kind of like, haven't they done that in the past? There were 3 people playing James Bond at the same time, right? Kind of just like it works today. No,
I'm just looking at my latest Amazon Prime order: 007, milk.
I've never known you to be a Bond guy.
Ass wipes. Oh, excuse me. Butt wipe.
Disposable douche.
Yeah. Hey, now you've crossed the line, Andrew. No, I've never been a massive. It's like if it's on or there's nothing going on the weekend, I'd go to the theater. No, I've never been a huge Bond guy. I've seen probably most of, if not all, the Daniel Craigs, and they were good. They were very, very good. I do agree with the author's take. I think it needs refreshing. And listening to Andrew's comments, they're going to put money into it. I think, these fans, they look at Amazon or they look at these companies as like creative sucking monoliths, like what happened with the Star Wars franchise and things of that nature. Not to pick on Star Wars, but it could be anything. And, again, I think if they put it in the hands of the right people and, as you say, put money into it, it can absolutely breathe new life into this franchise. Look at Cobra Kai. What it did for Karate Kid. So, I agree with your sentiments. Sure. Why not? Why not? Why not?
Yeah. Well, look at the ones that have worked over the ones that haven't worked. Just real quick. The MCU worked. Why? There was basically one guy who was running things. Okay? The DCU worked for what it was. There was one guy, Zack Snyder, who was in charge.
I think people would
go ahead.
I think people would question. I don't want to get into a long protract. I think people would question that.
Okay.
I don't think DC. Okay. I don't think the DC universe, generally speaking, was looked at successfully, both creatively and commercially. And MCU, the last 10 years have been just up, down. I say a lot more down than up.
Yeah,
now,
okay.
I think it's going to trend back up now that the Russo brothers are going to helm the new Avenger movies. I think that they'll make good
decisions.
Good fun superhero movies with great villains and great heroes, and just make a good movie and stop worrying about the other bullshit. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, and the difference with Star Wars is that there were too many cooks in the kitchen. You didn't know who the hell was in charge, and everybody was like cleaning up the mess that the last person left. They had no long-range story plan. So, and that's what happens when you got too many people in charge. So that's what happened with Star Wars.
Yeah, I think the female, whoever the female head was, she got a lot
Kathleen
of
Kennedy.
shit. I saw a lot. Yeah, a lot of people did not like the moves that she made with
Well,
this.
the only
Don't defend
this will
her.
be real.
Don't
No, I'm
defend
not.
her.
I'm not. Here's what she did wrong.
How dare you?
Here's what she did wrong. She sourced it out to too many different people. She is a very she. If you look at her filmography and see the things that she's done, you can't take anything away from her. The decision she made in being put in charge of Star Wars, she didn't make the right decisions. But this woman did E.T., Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park. I mean, Jesus Christ, you don't get bigger than this woman. So
I'm going to say if you, I don't know her, but from what I've listened and read about her, she might have a very successful filmography. But I'm willing to say the last 15 years have been mixed, if not best, and that's probably what.
That's being kind.
Okay, so
yeah,
there you go.
I agree with
there
you.
you go.
There have been some hits, but mostly misses.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you think of this, Gru? About 2 weeks ago, the New York Yankees announced that the team has changed its no facial hair policy that has been upheld for 50 years. Hours before the Yankees took the field for their first Grapefruit League opener against the Tampa Bay Rays, players were surprised to learn that from now on, they're allowed to grow facial hair beyond a mustache. But there's a limit. Beards must be, quote, well-groomed, according to Hal Steinbrenner's new facial hair policy. Owner Hal Steinbrenner was quoted as saying the decision came down to one thing: winning. Steinbrenner said in a press conference last Friday, "If I ever found out that a player we wanted to acquire to make us better, to get us a championship, did not want to be here, and if he had the ability, would not come here because of that policy, as important as it is to that generation, that would be very, very concerning. I'm fairly convinced that that's a real concern." Added Yankees manager Aaron Boone, "If we miss out on one player because of that, that's too much. Though there are mixed feelings in the clubhouse about whether to utilize their newfound facial hair freedom, players are happy to have at least the option. Steinbrenner's surprising rule change has paved the way for the Yankees to begin a new legacy." All right, blah, 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 blah. I think that was from MLB.com. Gru, you think the Yankees made the right move here?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it was always weird that they wouldn't allow facial hair, but they'd allow someone coming wearing chains like Mr. T up to the plate, and, the uniform opened up all the way to the bottom, and 17 earrings in one ear and a mouthful of gold. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to reference Mel Hall? No, I'm trying to just say that, that is a generation that's long gone. It's not really a gentleman's game anymore. It's this generation likes to be flashy, and for whatever reason, well, I'm looking at somebody who's always kind of been like that. You've always been a big
flashy?
facial. No, not flashy. You've always been a big facial hair guy, and I've never understood. I've never understood why when you usually it's a fad you get into when you can start growing facial hair. I see kids in 10th grade walking around with full beards, they don't know how disgusting it looks. They just like the fact that they could grow a beard. But usually they grow out of that habit, when they're in their mid-20s. But these days, everybody seems to love to keep those faces covered. So, okay. So adapt with the times. It's an old-fashioned rule. Might as well get rid of it. But there's a lot of other things they should get rid of, too.
These days, the stars are out of reach.
Pick the Yankees up for free.
Yeah, I think it was about time. A lot of people feel like, the Yankees are like the Tiffany franchise, but I agree. Andrew said it perfectly. Baseball's no longer a gentleman's game. It's kind of the same way a little bit now with tennis and golf. The fans are more ruckus, and all those sort of cultural things that we're supposed to follow as fans and as players are kind of long gone. And so
they don't even have to wear polos in tennis and golf anymore. They still make us wear them at the country clubs. Not that I ever go to country clubs. I would never hang out with such aristocratic scum.
Yeah, I played Andy Roddick naked last week. Nobody said a word.
I did that on an Xbox.
Gru, Last thing, a German soccer match was canceled when a player's young child ran onto the field and bit the referee on the testicle.
That's a red card right there.
There were two minor league teams, FC Taxi Dusseldorf and SV Rot-Weiss Mulheim. They were doing drills before the match last Sunday when the tot went totally nuts, UK's National World reported. While I was checking the FC Taxi's player ID, a small child was doing warm-up exercises alongside the players. He came closer and closer to me. Then suddenly, to my complete surprise, he gave me a sharp bite in my left testicle. Whoa! The referee, Stefan Kramer, told the outlet. The out-of-left-field chomp forced Stefan Kyler to call off the game because his privates hurt too much to officiate. Quoting the referee, "I did not start the game because of the pain I was in and in the situation. It was the child of one of the FC Taxi players who was to blame." Gru, talk about a kick in the nuts.
I mean, I don't know I don't have much to say about that. It's great. Wait, so the match got called off?
Yes.
Come on. We've all gotten kicked or bitten in the nuts. It hurts, it hurts for a couple minutes, and then you're okay. Come on. They didn't have a backup referee. They had to shut down the whole thing because the little kid bit the guy in the nuts.
I don't know.
Pardon the pun, but what a pussy.
Yeah, I mean, that's just incredible.
Yeah.
Kid got. I mean, I don't know if I could continue work too if a kid bit me on the nuts.
Well, I have questions about security at this stadium, of course.
Yeah. Listen, I'd say to my boss, listen, I do have sick time. I'm going to. Where do I put for a reason bit on the nuts?
And now, all stadiums have a tooth inspection as you go in. If your teeth are sharper than whatever than the regulation, you have to get them. You have to get them filed down before you go in.
Sorry, ma'am. We said all purses must be clear. You can only have a water of 6 ounces or less, and teeth must be a 0.4 viscosity or
this
less.
This molar is too sharp.
Go see Dr. Vinny Boombots over there. You got to get your teeth ground.
Hack it right off.
I don't want to. The husband's like, please. It hurts.
Yeah.
All right, listen, everybody. Today's Nothing Worthwhile podcast, The End of Cobra Kai, is brought to you by New Life Center. Rediscover confidence. Just like Johnny, rediscover confidence with expert med spa services in the great city of Phoenix. Listen, you fucking pussy. Get out there and fight. Check out their monthly specials, payment plan options, and to book an appointment, go to their website, www.newlifecenters.com. That's NUYOU lifecenters.com. Check out their social media. Give them a call at 602-274 and tell them you want something worthwhile and you heard about them from Nothing Worthwhile. New Life Center, Phoenix Premier Med Spa. All right, Andrew, this one was a coming. This topic, let me, the sixth and final season of Cobra Kai consisted of 15 episodes and was released on Netflix. Unlike previous seasons, the sixth season was released in 3 parts of 5 episodes each. Do we like that? Did we like that sort of special unveiling?
I did. In hindsight, I think when they announced it, I liked it. Because I felt it kind of like extended things, which it did. And I like that, because they put out the seasons 10 episodes at a time and it's a very bingeable show. So I used to watch them all in almost one sitting and then wait a year for the next. So this was kind of cool where you watch 5, wait a couple months, watch another 5, wait a couple months, then the finale 5. Worked for me. Didn't know if it would. I was optimistic and it ended up working for me.
Yeah, I read some mixed stuff online. I think some people might have preferred just a full release.
Yeah. I mean, I can completely understand that, but for me, it landed probably because, well, actually, that's going to spoil my thoughts, so I won't go into it. I'll go into it in a little bit.
Yeah, there's not so much to cover, but on January 20th, 2023, Netflix renewed Cobra Kai for a 6th and final season. At the time of the announcement, series creators Josh Held, John Hurwitz, and Hayden Schlossberg. I'm going to go meet them over at Temple of Oda for a minion on Thursday.
Yeah, 3 Jersey boys.
All right. He never sells my comedy. Never sells my comedy.
Hold on, wait, hold on. Hold on.
No wonder Jack.
Listen to that laughter. Listen to that glorious laughter.
No, but he'll put like when I hear he puts his little zingers. He does these little sound whoosh, like he does this one sound effect that he's in love with. Whoosh.
Hey, how dare you?
Held, Hurwitz, and Schlossberg. Actually, I'm retaining them for an attorney. I got into a car accident.
Actually, one of they were all in the final season. One of them as a lawyer.
Yeah, was that the final scene?
Well, yeah, that was that post ending scene.
Yeah. They returned Gru as executive producers for the series, along with their production company Counterbalance Entertainment. Series stars Ralph Macchio and William Zabka also serve as executive producers alongside a noteworthy Will Smith. Sean Kanan once again reprised his role as Kanan. You say Kanan, I say Kanan. Kanan. Let's go the whole thing Barnes initially starred in The Karate Kid Part 3 and first returned to the franchise in Season 5 of Cobra Kai. Kanan stated that after appearing in the previous season, he remained in contact with Hurwitz, Held, and Schlossberg, who expressed interest in Barnes returning again. C.S. Lee was cast to portray Master Kim Sung-young, a character first referenced by Terry Silver in Part 3. All right, speaking of casting, Gru, here's a quick look at the main cast for Season 6 of Cobra Kai. We have, again, Macchio as Daniel LaRusso, William Zabka as Johnny Lawrence, Courtney Hengiller as Amanda LaRusso, Zolo Maraduena as Miguel Diaz, Tanner Buchanan as Robbie Keane, Mary Musser as Samantha LaRusso, Peyton List as Tori Nichols, Jacob Bertrand as Eli Hawk Moskowitz, Gianni DeCenzo as Dimitri Alexopoulos, Dallas Dupree Young as Kenny Payne, Vanessa Rubio as Carmen Diaz, Martin Cove as John Kreese, and of course we mentioned Thomas Ian Griffith as Terry Silva. Gru, you got main cast, you got a recurring cast, you got special guest stars, close to over 40 actors listed on the website that I was looking at. Is that fun, or does it make it a little bit of a liability with such an expansive cast? What are you thinking on the casting of Season 6 or just overall Cobra Kai?
The answer is both. And that was evident in, I think, throughout the 3 parts of Season 6. There were times during the first 2 parts where it seemed a little bit bloated and they were trying to do a few too many things at the same time. Those problems, I think, were solved with the final 5. So the answer is both. It is a big load to carry, but if you do it right and stick the landing with it, it works. So, and that's not to criticize the first 2 parts. You know, we reviewed those, and I really enjoyed those, but they weren't perfect, and that was one of the issues.
My mom used to say to me, "You're doing too much.
Yeah.
Stay home.
Yeah,
rest.
relax.
Go home
yeah,
and rest.
Eat something.
Yeah. Right.
You're wasting away."
No, she didn't like when I went like my freshman year. You know, like a lot of kids. I went and I started really getting into fitness. Well, like really lifting weights, but not even fitness because I was eating you 7 meals a day. She was like, "You have no neck."
Yeah.
My brother's mom. I'm sitting there.
I remember when that obsession with you started.
Yeah, and then
you showed up to a camp reunion with a headband, and you're like, yeah, I just came from the gym. I'm gonna try to do one after we're done here. Okay, can we talk about SummerSlam now? Come on.
I know, yeah. What a dick and a douche.
I think those were your Cortland days. Those were your Cortland days.
165 pounds. Yeah, I couldn't even run. All right, so Gru, it's tough to sum up a full season. We're not going to break down every episode, but let's talk about the final 2 episodes. How did Cobra Kai end? We see in episode 14 called Strike Last, Daniel buys the old Cobra Kai dojo from Armand, and he's going to use it for Johnny to train Miguel and Tori before the finals of the Sekai Tekai. Tori, now representing Cobra Kai, defeats Zara by knocking her out. In the men's final, Drago clone Axel shows some heart, ultimately refuses to cheat. Miguel ends up winning the men's final. Somehow, I don't know how, Cobra Kai and the Iron Dragons are tied, and the ultimately the championship will be decided in a match between the two senseis. And of course, that was... I felt like it was almost like, just hear me out. Like, let's say 2001, the Mets and Yankees are in the Subway Series, and they end after 9 innings, after they're tied 3 games apiece in a 3-3 tie. And then it's like, all right, Joe Torre and Bobby Valentine are now going to go into a home run derby. The winner... All right, anyway, that just...
I know exactly.
Okay?
I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean. And... I know exactly what you mean, and you're 100% right. We just feel very, very differently about it.
Okay, fine.
Continue.
John Kreese confronts Terry Silver on his yacht and takes them down both via lit cigar to the open fuel lines, and by saying his last words, mercy. So we assume that Terry Silver and John Kreese are gone. Daniel gives Johnny a Cobra Kai, and then we have our final episode, which was called Ex Degenerate. That was episode 15, I believe. Yes, the final episode. We're at the finals of the Sekai Taikai. Young Kreese clone Wolf berates Johnny in the locker room, trying to intimidate him, and it does work. Johnny realizes he's fighting a younger, superior, and perhaps more vicious fighter. Ralph Macchio and his wig give Daniel give Johnny a Cobra Kai style speech with profanity.
Yeah.
You fucking pussy, get out there, you fuck. Spurs Johnny on to a victory versus Wolf. Johnny gets his redemptive moment, something he's desperately needed for the past 30 years. And then, of course, we get kind of a final run of all the characters. Johnny moves into his new house with Carmen and Laura, while Miguel, Sam, Dimitri, Hawk, Robbie, Tori, and Chosen all continue on their respective paths. Johnny and Daniel are going to collaborate with their students as senseis to train them in Cobra Kai. And, of course, Miyagi-Do will get a shout-out, but we're now going Cobra Kai. And at the final scene, we end again as we started. Daniel and Johnny out to lunch as we get a final call back to Mr. Miyagi, and off we go. I have some notes on the viewing figures. It sounds like, I don't want to get into the first 3 releases, but it does sound like the first release was the largest one of all. It had something like 14.8 million views, whereas the final one, if I'm reading this correctly, had 9.5 million views. And I think, like, the criticism was Hollywood Reporter theorized that this 3-part release perhaps caused lower viewership because I guess maybe just the nature of just first release, second release, third release, that viewership would drop perhaps all along. But the numbers were pretty phenomenal. The second part was the 6th. Okay, so part 1 was the first most viewed. Part 2 was the 6th most viewed at the time, with over 838 minutes viewed. I don't know how they do this whole
Me neither.
binge shit, so I don't give a shit anymore. So I'll go to on the review aggregate website Rotten Tomatoes, 91% of the 43 critics quoted gave the final season of Cobra Kai a positive one, with an average score of 7.0 out of 10. The website's consensus reads, having achieved mastery over its formula, Cobra Kai's 6th and final season doesn't hit as hard, but still maintains an excellent form. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average as well, gave Cobra Kai a score of 67 out of 100, based on 11 critics indicating a general favorable review. Hold on, please. All right. Andrew Gruthius, I think we'll go to Gru, because you know what? I'm going to say my review will be the more interesting one, because I know how Andrew's been a Cobra Kai guy for day one. He has been a little critical, but I think he's been on board with it since day one. Gru, do you give a favorable review of the final season of Cobra Kai? And, what did you think of the final season, Gru? What do you think of Cobra Kai overall? The floor is yours, my friend.
Okay, so let's start with, and we'll go quick, but we'll work backwards.
Floor is yours.
Yeah,
Give me what you got.
So if you would have told me going into these final 5 that it was going to end with Johnny getting in the ring with Wolf, I would have been like, that's a bit much. But the way they lay it out, and the way it, as ridiculous as it is and as silly as it is, they even sort of say it with a very, I think, meta way by referencing, the populist ideas of Rocky IV, and that's pretty much what Cobra Kai is. It's comfort food in a lot of ways that gets you up and cheering and fist pumping and gives you all the feels, while asking you to suspend disbelief. So at this point, I've built up these characters, and the writing has built up so much goodwill in me that I don't care what they do, because I'm so invested in the characters. So seeing how Cobra Kai began with Johnny losing, in hindsight, the only way to end it was to have him get that win on the same mat that he lost it 30 years earlier. It only makes sense because this is Johnny's story. And while there are many other ways that they could have given him his complete redemption, everything that they did, from Daniel saying, "You're all right, Lawrence," echoing that stuff from before, everything just came full circle in that whole thing. From the from the WWE style entrances, it just hit everywhere, and it didn't matter how silly it was, because it was just like the other seasons. It was too much fun and too entertaining and too much of a crowd pleaser. So I'm going to say about these last 5 episodes, I have to look at the final season as 3 seasons, because I would put these 5, especially the last 3 episodes, I'd put up with any other run of episodes in the entire series, as far as how it got me and how it hooked me and made me feel. And as far as finales go, I can't think of a more satisfying finale, as far as all these characters we've been living with for a while. I think every single one of them ends up where we would expect / want them to be in the end. And sometimes TV shows avoid that, just, because they don't want to do the obvious thing and they don't want to catch the low-hanging fruit. But sometimes it's okay and it works. And here it does. And I walked away from this wanting to give all these people a big standing ovation. I really thought it stuck the landing like really no show ever has, from my perspective. I absolutely loved this last run. There were moments in these episodes where I kept rewinding them and watching parts of them again, because they hit so hard. If you want an example of that, of course, the Kreese Johnny scene, both of them actually, the setup and then the home run. I would say the same thing with the Thunderstruck needle drop. That was awesome. Just so much about these last 5 just really had me just excited. And I took a long time to watch it because I didn't want it to end. So are you asking me for do we have an aggregator on this?
No, not on this one, because it's like a whole TV series. So I just wanted to get your overall thoughts.
All right, so my overall thoughts on season 6.3 is I would think it's tied with the first season for the best run of episodes of the series, as for the metrics that I mentioned, and the series as a whole, it's going to go down as one of my favorite shows of all time, because very few TV shows I can say multiple seasons I've seen every single minute of every single show, and this is one of them, and there's a good reason. So yeah, I guess that's where I stand on all things Cobra Kai. What about you?
All right. So I still set up my notes in terms of like, dislike, final review. And actually, we we could dig into, because I think I'm a fan. I'm not fanatical about Cobra Kai, so I think I'm seeing this like maybe 2 steps back from Andrew. So I'll be curious to hear Andrew's thoughts and chime in and get some good discussion. So first thing is, the final season I thought was greatly helped by the return to the Karate Kid tournament competition, because I think that it allowed the show to connect back to the original Karate Kid movie, and was several fun callbacks to the original movie, as well as, it gave us a lot of great action shots of well choreographed karate fights between the actors. I think that it also allowed the writing to kind of be sort of centrally focused. We're going back to the beginning. We're going back to the Karate Kid, to the tournament. And I think that helped the writing in the final season. It wasn't all these, sure, there's these offshoot storylines, but it was basically the Sekai Tekai tournament.
Yeah.
As Andy referenced, there's always silliness with Cobra Kai. But in my opinion, the final season, they did tone it down a bit more and focused on the characters and their lives. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing, like Miguel, Dimitri, Hawk visiting college, running into Kyler. Like, we could all relate to that. We've all been on trips in colleges or visited other campuses and ran into friends. So that was good. I thought the final season had a bit of an edge with some rough scenes, some violent scenes, got a bit more profanity. Yeah. I think the final season had a fun nostalgia feel to it. Not just with like silly returning characters, but the music they did, sort of the synth soundtrack, some callbacks to the old movies, some definitely Easter egg references to the Rocky franchise. I thought that was fun. And I thought ultimately too, Zara and Axel were great Karate Kid villains. Those villains, the final girl and the final boy, I actually thought the girl was even better. Axel, I thought, was almost like a Drago kind of clone.
Yeah.
Middle Eastern, and then of course he sort of has a heart of gold like Drago sort of did. Like he wasn't going to cheat and knock out Miguel. And Zara, every girl was jealous of her. She's beautiful. She's good at karate. She's got the TikTok. It was a good foil for Tori to go over.
She's hot too.
In terms of what I did, in terms of what I disliked about the last season, again, Cobra Kai does tend to get into silliness. The Sekai Takai descending into chaos on live TV, the tournament director getting knocked out cold by the evil Russian sensei, and then because he's accused of using PEDs or the team, and then literally Quan gets knifed and killed on air. And then the tournament director wakes up from getting knocked out and you cut the feed. Like, all this is live on television. We essentially watched a live murder on air. I thought that was, a bit silly, and those things kind of take me away from Cobra Kai. All right, final review. The final season to me was a coronation in many ways. I think that the show is basically saying we're moving on from Daniel and Johnny. It's about the lives of the kids now and how karate intertwines with the young kids' lives. Where does Miguel go from here? What about the binary brothers at Caltech? Like, what, I think that it was essentially, we're moving away from that. And I think, as well as Mr. Miyagi, I think this was, if they do future Karate Kid projects, I'm not here to say that they're not going to, but I think that clearly the final season was like, we're moving off this, Karate Kid Legends. We've already played the trailer. The character says, I want to see you, Daniel. I don't want to talk about Mr. Miyagi. So I'm going to assume future Karate Kid projects may minimize the whole Miyagi, Daniel, Johnny thing, and let's move on with, other sort of deals. And I am fine with that. Gru mentioned the first season of Cobra Kai. To me, that first season was such a revelation to me. I watched that first season. It felt like a where are they now segment. Of course, Johnny's a washed-up loser. He never got over losing that fight 30 years ago. Of course, Daniel's a winner now. He won. He's a good-looking kid. He was always kind of quick talking. Now, of course, he's a successful car dealership. Of course, he's got the beautiful wife and kids, everything that Johnny doesn't have. It was like, I loved everywhere they went with it. And then Kreese comes back from the dead, and it kind of took me away from it. So I agree with Andrew. Season 6 is the best season since season 1. It focuses directly on the character and their lives. It gave us a lot of karate and a real emotional scenes to quench our Karate Kid hunger. You mentioned the Kreese Johnny scene. That's the kind of stuff I wanted to see about Cobra Kai. Not, Kreese getting sprung from prison in some kind of ridiculous manner in a way too unbelievable scenario. So to me, Cobra Kai season 6 was a lot more believable than unbelievable to me. And therefore, I truly enjoyed the final season. And if you really think about it, Gru, maybe the ultimate message was maybe the bad guy actually did win. And when it's all said and done, and his dojo, it was the last one standing, which was Cobra Kai. So, again, I could pick apart little things about season 6, but no, I did really enjoy it. And I thought it was the best season since the first season.
Well, I think the message here is that, Evan, if I can change and you can change, everybody can change.
Yeah.
I mean, So I think I agree with you're a little tougher on that stuff than I am. I'm a little more forgiving, but we definitely agree. Best in season 1. Great way to go out. And yeah, it's time. These guys Johnny has come full circle. He can basically live happily ever after, as can Daniel, and they can each go on their own little adventures. It's about the kids now. That's where the interest lies, and maybe they'll do some stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, I thought also I don't know if it's my last point, but hearing my notes, I also felt Cobra Kai suffered from the easy nostalgia digs of like season 3, 4, 5, where it was like the sole focus or the interest. A lot of it was just who are they going to bring back, and it wasn't really about quality or the writing. I'm all for bringing back an old character if it's done in a smart way. And I don't know specifics. I mean, I watched every episode like you, but I felt like even at the end of the season, like all the YouTubers were like, who are they going to bring? Like the focus really wasn't on the story. It was like, who are they going to bring back? I thought they brought back Chosen. I thought they brought back Chosen in a smart way. Kamiko, no. I don't want to get into each and every character, but
no. But I'm going to give you 2 examples, one of each side. So one that worked very well in the last couple episodes was Daryl Vidal. Okay, everybody kind of knew who he was from the originals, and it made sense that he came back to serve in the capacity that he did as the referee, because he was in the original movie as like the third runner-up in the tournament. I think Johnny ended up beating him, but he actually is the stunt coordinator for all of it. And just a tidbit of information for you. If you remember from the original Karate Kid movie, when you see Miyagi doing that crane kick on the beach, do you know that famous scene when you see him from a distance? Yeah. That's Daryl Vidal doing that. But that made sense. Something from this past season that was distracting was, and you might not have picked up on it, but you remember when the mailman comes to deliver the letter from Okinawa to Chosen? They literally do a word-for-word recreation of when they sent the letter to Miyagi from Okinawa from Karate Kid 2. And it was really silly and distracting for people who picked up on it. So sometimes they take it too far, but sometimes they do it right. And this season was no exception.
Okay. I mean, I think it suffered from that, and I think this season they toned that stuff down.
They definitely did. But and sometimes it got a little distracting, but most of the time, I think a lot of people were pining for Hilary Swank because she's an A-list star who's connected to this universe. So it's like WWE fans saying, when is John Cena going to show up? Okay, in a way.
Yeah, but I mean, wrestling is not sort of, although their writing has become much more advanced, but you're talking about a universe of people. So you got to do it in a smart way. And sometimes they did. And quite frankly, in my opinion, sometimes they didn't.
Right.
And I didn't enjoy it. So if you bring him Hillary Swank back in a smart way, which I'm not sure how you do it, but anyway, I mean,
no, but they didn't because it wouldn't have made any sense. So they chose not to, even though, but like you mentioned, like fans are all like, who are they going to bring back? Oh, they got to bring back this person. No, they don't. They bring it back if it serves what they're trying to do, and Hillary Swank's character would not have. Simple as that.
I think Cobra Kai hit on a formula where you could see. And hopefully it's not just people being lazy, but you take, sort of 80 and 90s franchises and sort of, bring them back so you have that nostalgia feel and try to retrofit them, for the current day. Not that it's anything connected, but I do think of things like, we saw a Predator reboot that kind of was for this time, the Alien franchise they brought back with a young cast. So, maybe Cobra Kai hit upon a formula of bringing back, beloved franchises, maybe in a hopefully smart way in the 2020s.
Well, the formula that you're describing is they did it looking at it from a different perspective. It's as simple as that. What are all these other ones do? They just try to do the same thing, like a Frasier or a Night Court. They're just doing the same thing. They're not breaking any new ground. They're not looking at it from a different perspective. This was, what if Daniel was the bully in a way? That was the genesis of what this show was about. And that's how it ended. And yes, you were right, where it did kind of lose its way a little bit from that path in some of the middle seasons. That was your biggest criticism. You're like my brother. Like, that show is Johnny and Miguel. Like, that's the heart of the show, and I agree with that. But, there's so much other stuff that's so much fun to watch. Like, for some reason, I'm the only fan of the Stingray character. He seems to be hated by everybody. God. I think he's great. I love it. I love the guy.
I like the actor and everything, but I mean,
Oh, everything he says is funny to me. But yeah, but you're in the majority. I'm in the minority. Fans don't like the guy for whatever reason. I think he's great.
No. I like Paul. I like.
No, but not the actor. I mean the character.
They give him. They gave him a little bit at the end, and it was gratuitous. It didn't really move it for me either way. Now you mentioned your brother. I mean, I've always said if they do a spinoff, my only interest lies in the Johnny character. Right. Johnny, Carmen, that family, yes, Johnny was by far the most interesting character because he was the most complex. He had the most pathos. He was the one that was struggling with everything. Then ironically, my next interest would be if they did a spinoff. I want to see where Dimitri and Hawk. I want to see the Binary brothers at Caltech.
Hell yeah!
That was fun stuff.
I'm going to make a prediction. I don't think these characters are going to be away very long, and the reason that is because I hate to say this, but none of them. I don't see them having big careers outside of this world. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, they're just, I don't know how to say it without sounding negative. Well, I see them having to come back. I see them having to come back to this well.
You're probably right because, I mean, if you think about the original Karate Kid franchise, not many of those guys really had, very massive, expansive careers outside of the Karate Kid franchise. It's sort of a very sort of specific casting, and I can't disagree with you. I mean, like, what is Jacob Bertrand as Hawk going to, I mean, that's a very, very specific character. So my last point was going to be, we've already gotten one post Cobra Kai project already announced in the can, Karate Kid Legends. We know that we've talked about it. I believe you were fairly positive, a little mixed on the trailer for the Karate Kids Legends movie with Jackie Chan. Any final thoughts on that as we close the chapter for now on Cobra Kai Karate Kid?
Yeah, I mean, that, as we said, it looks like fun. There is zero other than the character and the name. There is no connection to Cobra Kai, meaning that, from what I understand, this movie is if the show of Cobra Kai never existed. That's what I understand this movie to be. But time will tell. But it's good that they went out now. I think it went out perfectly, and I wouldn't mind revisiting it in a couple of years. But I have no deep desire for any continuation at the moment. I am so unbelievably satisfied. I'm happy where we are. And that's,
okay.
And right now I don't know. But I agree with you. I would be interested in exploring like the Lawrences. I want to see Johnny as a father and a husband in a domestic. I want to see how he handles that phase of his life, and the challenges he comes up with that, with Robbie and Miguel, living under the same roof for at least part time. So that could be fun. But they would have to do it in a different way, a different format.
I agree.
Like
almost like maybe like a fun sitcom,
Yeah, because that's why The Big Bang Theory did everything right. Like that, like their big monster hit was a sitcom with a laugh track. So what do they do with the sequel or prequel? They do it like no laugh track and like sort of a 30-minute dramedy, much more pathos, and so it's just a completely different feel. And so that's what they would need to do. Like I would love it to feel like live theater, watching the Lawrences, like the Connors or Roseanne or whatever. That'd be fun.
Right.
I would enjoy that.
Well, let's end on this. Andrew Gruthius is deeply satisfied.
I am deeply, deeply satisfied, as many who come into my presence are. At least they say and post on message boards after they see me. Anyway.
Anyway, Gru, give us one thing you're watching this week.
All right. Don't yell at me, but I am catching up on the last couple years of Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
And I'm doing it in an a la carte way, meaning that it's all on YouTube. And I'm looking up I'm looking them up by performers. And there are some really funny people who do some really funny things. Even last night, there was a sketch that Shane Gillis hosted last night, and there was a sketch where where they had two white newscasters and two black newscasters, and they were keeping score on like how many bad things were generated by black people and how many were generated by white people, and it was just hysterical. There's this girl Sarah Sherman who does Weekend Updates pieces every now and then, and all she does is come on and, like, in an abstract way, just roast the shit out of Colin Jost. And it's hysterical. So I've been watching a lot of the last couple of years of Saturday Night Live and gaining a new respect for some of the people who've been there over the years, because the show has not, as a whole, been very good. But there are some things that are really, really funny and that I highly recommend doing it through YouTube and looking at some of the more popular sketches over the last couple of years.
I think you could do that through Peacock too with the a la carte. I think you can.
Yes, you can. I think it's easier. It's easier. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think you could do it from segment to segment. I believe on Peacock as well. I think.
Yes, I find it a little bit easier because we're still critical of the mechanism of Peacock. They still haven't done what we like it to do. YouTube makes it a little bit easier, but you're right. You can. They have every episode ever on Peacock, but there's just some really funny stuff.
Any chance you could send me your Paramount Plus credentials so Andrew could watch? I sent you an email. Andrew wants to watch Tulsa King, my brother. Yeah, that would be really nice if you could.
Yeah, okay, but no. In case anybody from Paramount, I refuse. That's illegal. I will not do. I will do no such thing.
All right,
I'll text it to you after the show. I'll text it to you.
All right.
Don't tell me.
Sorry about that.
No, I'm kidding. Of course. Wait, you have it, don't you?
I do, but I have it on a key drive. I got to find my key drive.
All right, I'll find it and send it to you.
All right. And
or not.
Send me Steve DirecTV again.
Oh yeah. Well, he changed the password. I got kicked out. I got kicked out of it too. So, but I'll take care of that.
When I send you the clip notes, if you could send that back to me, because I'm going to see Andrew later.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. He wants to see Tulsa King. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I don't think I have anything watching this week. I could tell you right now that the only thing I've committed to in hindsight of our plans is the Dead and Company are now my official laundry music. I do laundry.
Well, I can recommend something to you that somebody recommended to me, and since you like true crime documentaries, I think it's on Netflix. There's one about the Manson family. There's one about the Manson murders, recent.
Yeah, I did watch last night with Marie. They have Gabby Petito. She was the one that was big in the news a year ago. She was her and her boyfriend were like van influencers. Like they lived off the grid.
Yeah,
really not off the grid anymore.
Yeah, I remember that.
They lived in a van and hiked. And I guess the guy went crazy and killed her.
Then killed himself, right?
Yeah, and then the forensic evidence and how they were able to track it down, and a lot of it was through these YouTubers or TikTokers who are also van influencers. Somebody drove by the van like that was disposed of in whatever park. But anyway, it was, obviously sad, but very interesting, but very, very sad.
Where's that? What's that on? I'd be interested in seeing
Netflix.
All right.
I think it was called An American Murder, Gabby Petito.
Yeah, because I remember we were all hooked on that when it was happening.
Yeah. All right, Gru, for our next episode of Van Damme, it's a special request from one Ryan Rabalkin. We'll move out of the chronological timeline and cover the newest Jean-Claude Van Damme franchise, Kill 'Em Alls. Kill 'Em All was released in 2017, while Kill 'Em All 2 was released in 2024. Gru, what are we expecting from the newest Jean-Claude Van Damme movie franchise?
Well, I'm going to turn things around this time because I'm going to go into this one expecting to get a big pile of steaming turd garbage, and hopefully it will be all uphill from there. Because I find that the positive attitude is not working for me going into these Van Damme movies. So I'm going to go in completely pessimistic with the idea that maybe I will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, maybe, right?
So one can hope. But I'm expecting not to like it.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what was I wonder chronological wise what's after the Quest on my list, but I feel like Legionnaire is going to be coming in there soon.
Didn't after the Quest didn't it flop so bad? He took over Pee-wee's Playhouse when Pee-wee got busted, and it was Jean-Claude's Playhouse for a while.
That actually might have been kind of funny. Kind of
it would have been completely.
All right,
See, if Jean-Claude ever did like a kindergarten cop type thing, if he ever had the balls to do that, he never really took that leap. He probably could have had some fun with it, but he never quite. Nobody ever really wanted to take the chance on him.
Was like Jean-Claude, that Amazon show that we covered, Jean-Claude Van Johnson, was that like his one kind of shot at maybe overt kind of comedy? It was action oriented, but it was kind of funny.
Well, because that's the thing. It had. See, if you asked me, and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but if you asked me what Arnold Schwarzenegger's best performance is, my answer would be Twins. I think that's his best acting performance he's ever done. And for a lot of reasons. And there's not a lick of action in that movie. So that's why I would want to see, even though there is a little bit of action in Kindergarten Cop, but it's mostly comedy. Van Damme, when he tries to, it's like an action movie with comedy in it. And that just doesn't work because the comedy seems forced, like Tango and Cash. You know, when Stallone tries to make a wisecrack, it doesn't really land because it feels forced. It feels shoehorned in, trying to get, these wisecracking guys. It's got to go the other way. Comedy first and action second, like the 80s Eddie Murphy movies kind of focused on, comedy first and set pieces second. So I think that's where it kind of suffered.
All right. Gru, for our next episode of Nothing Worthwhile, man, I have mixed feelings about this. It's I've been listening to a lot of clips of old school Howard Stern. It's going to bring back the golden era, but am I going to get upset all over again?
Yep, you are, and so will I, and it'll be fun.
All right. Well, you guys know Jackie the Joke Man Martling. He was the head writer for the Stern Show for many years. The guy, not to take away any credit from Howard, but he was the guy that really supplied many of the amazing one-liners that Howard had during that incredible run. Then in 2001, after years of complaining and threats and prior walkouts, Jackie left the show. We know later on he was replaced by Artie Lang. But anyway, we're going to take a look at it. The background of Jackie the Joke Man Martling and all of his contributions to the Howard Stern Show. And, of course, his exit in 2001. Andrew, Jackie the Joke Man.
Very much looking forward to this one. Excited to go back into the Howard Stern universe to see you get all upset and angry and red-faced all over again.
I will, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? But it's good. It's like therapy for us. It's good to talk about it. It's good to get it out, once every few months to go back to the Howard well and exercise these demons. So I'm looking forward to that. And, the week after that will probably be Billy Joel's Fall, We'll probably do 2.5 hours on Billy's stumble on stage. But look, the angrier we get, the more we end up laughing about it afterwards. So why the hell not?
I mean, do you listen to Howard at all these days?
Nope.
Because I don't.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I can't even. I can't even remember the last time I even clicked on the channel.
Yeah, so sad. All right.
Yeah.
Get us out of here, Gru.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, or nay, a privilege, or nay, more like an obligation for us to be here with you today.
Yes, nay.
Where we discussed the final season of Cobra Kai, one of our favorites here in the Nothing Worthwhile universe. As I prepare for my trip to Washington, D.C., where I have a very important meeting scheduled with President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, I hope it's going to go well.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure it will go very well. I'm going in there. I'm standing my ground, and I'm not going to take any shit from them. You better believe that. I'm going in to save Canada. But anyway, thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking next week about, what are we doing again? We're doing Kill 'Em All. No, we're doing Jackie the Joke Man next week, and then after that we go back to the Van Dammeverse, Van Damme, and then we are officially on the road to WrestleMania. And WrestleMania is coming up soon. We will be doing it live from Las Vegas. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join us then. Join us next week and every week after here on Nothing Worthwhile. We'll be seeing you next time. And until then, 1, 2, 3. Rip 'em.
Rip 'em.
Quack, quack.